Hello and welcome to another video on navigating the Windows environment with a screen reader. Today we're going to do some more in-depth focus on navigating File Explorer. But before we get started, I just want to remind you that though we will be using JAWS for Windows as our screen reader today, you can use any Windows-based screen reader that you are comfortable with, or no screen reader at all if you prefer, and just depend on the keyboard and/or magnification if you wish. All of the processes and commands will be completely Windows-based, so it won't depend on the screen reader that you're using. But please keep in mind that your screen reader will have different feedback and tutor messages depending on what it is, maybe than the ones that you're hearing here. So let's go ahead and get started. In previous videos, we set up the File Explorer to open in the folder of our choosing. We also set it up so that it would show in the details view. If you did not follow those instructions or follow along with those videos, your File Explorer may appear different than mine, and some of the things may work just slightly differently. I'm going to open my File Explorer by pressing Windows key plus the letter E.
Windows E. Amy-Vidp. Items view multi-select list box. Not selected. Archive not.
And I'm going to press my Control to silence my screen reader. Once I open my File Explorer, I am focused in the Content pane. We're going to talk about the 5 different areas of File Explorer, how to navigate them, and the major keys that are used to navigate these areas. Before we get too far, though, what I want to do is show you something that's important to think about. If those of you who are accessing the screen visually will notice that my File Explorer is taking up maybe approximately 50-ish% of the screen and is laid over my desktop. Some people prefer to look at their File Explorer visually in this way because it allows to see things behind it. Some people find it challenging because not only does it provide some challenges visually because you're messing up with the contrast and things like that, but also having your File Explorer be a smaller window can impact how the ribbons function. Oftentimes, if something doesn't show in a ribbon or a ribbon functions differently than you would expect, it's because of the scale and sizing of your windows. Sometimes that can be corrected by maximizing your window. This can be corrected by using the menu to maximize the window. This menu is available in most Microsoft applications, and in fact in many applications running in Windows, and is accessed by pressing Alt plus the spacebar. I'm going to press that now.
Restore unavailable. To move through items, press up or down arrow R.
We can navigate this menu by using up and down arrows or by using the shortcut keys that our screen reader announces. It says Restore R. I'm going to use my down arrow to see what other options look like.
Move M. Size S. Minimize N. Maximize X. Close C.
You'll notice that minimize is N and maximize is X. This is because obviously you have minimize and maximize. Both start with the letter M, and Windows has assigned them different shortcut keys. If I press the letter X to maximize this window, it will take up the entire visual portion of our screen with the exception of the taskbar area. I'm going to do that now.
Leaving menus. Amy-Vidp. Items view multi-select list box. Not.
So now my window, my File Explorer window, is completely maximized and takes up 100% of the screen. I'm going to close File Explorer now.
Alt F4. Taskbar.
Now I'm going to open File Explorer again.
Windows E. Amy-Vidp. Items view multi-select list box. Not selected.
If you can see the screen, you'll notice that File Explorer has remained maximized. That's going to be very helpful to know. Sometimes it will revert, but as we've seen, it's very easy to get it to maximize again. Simply press that Alt space and the letter X, and you're back exactly where you were. Now let's talk about the different regions of File Explorer and how to navigate them. Fortunately, File Explorer can be driven almost entirely from the keyboard, which is amazing. There are two keys that move focus between the parts, and there's an additional key that we'll talk about as well. F6 is the sixth key on your function row, so F6 cycles between major panes and regions of the File Explorer application. Shift F6 will move backwards. So as we've talked about, you can move forwards and backwards. Sometimes when there are a lot of options, Shift F6 may be a more efficient keystroke. The other key is Tab. Tab moves between controls inside the currently focused region. And as with Shift F6, Shift Tab will move backwards. We've seen Shift Tab before. So there are two major keys. There's the additional key, and then there's four major key combinations. There's F6, Shift F6, Tab, and Shift Tab. In modern Windows File Explorer, F6 again goes through main areas or regions of File Explorer. Let's go ahead and talk about what happens when we open File Explorer. By default, your focus is going to be in that content pane. The content pane is the file and folder list that takes up the majority of the physical room of File Explorer. It contains your files, folders, and things like that. It can be navigated using up and down arrows or first letter navigation. If I press F6 here,
F6, name split button collapsed.
We move to our status bar or our view control button area. If we press F6 again,
F6, view modes, details radio button checked. To change the selection, press up or down arrow.
This is a details pane. Usually it's collapsed. It shows up usually, but unless you press a specific key combination, it won't really have much in it. But it's letting you know that this is the details pane. We're going to press F6 again to move past it.
F6, list box. Amy-Vidby tab selected, 1 of 1. To switch pages, press Ctrl plus page down.
This is the tab strip that's along the very top of your File Explorer. You can have more than one tab open in File Explorer, so you can have more than one file location open at once. It's important to know this because tabs come into play quite a bit when we talk about Windows, especially when we go into browsers. Tabs can be navigated pretty easily, and we'll talk about that another time. If I press F6 again.
F6, tree view Amy-Vidby File Explorer navigation pane tree view Amy-Vidby left parent OneDrive right parent closed 3 of 18. To move through or expand items, use the arrow keys.
Here I'm in the navigation pane. This is on the very left side of our File Explorer, and it's a tree view, and it's a view of our folders list or drives. It can be navigated with up and down arrows keys as well as first letter navigation. We'll talk about what tree views are and how to navigate those more thoroughly in another video. Those are the 5 major areas of File Explorer and some major important things to know about File Explorer. We will be delving into each of these areas in a different video. I hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great day.